What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo. My name is Tigo, and for those of you who are unaware, I live in Florida, and we are about to get hit by Hurricane Ian. So I am going to be doing a bulk recording of videos and batches. So you're going to see a lot of this getup and this scenes right now. And the idea is just I want to make sure that you guys get your daily dose of Talking Jets with Tigo content. So if there is some breaking news or something like that that I have missed, that's why. I'll try to keep a note of all of the things that I do miss so that I can talk about it in one big kind of live stream or anything like that so that you guys can still get my thoughts and opinions on it. But let's hop right into today's video. We're going to be doing 5 keys to victory for the New York Jets against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And yeah, let's talk about it. So the first key to victory is the defensive line needs to start adding sacks to their production. The defensive line is being incredibly productive when you look at every measurable statistic outside of sacks. We're creating a heap ton of pressure. We're effectively stopping the run. We're disrupting offensive lines and like I said, creating pressure and quarterback hits and all of the other stats. We're being quite effective. The problem is that we're just not getting sacks. Now, I don't know what it is about the training, the coaching, the play calling, whatever it is. Something's not working when it comes to the play calling or anything that we're not getting the sacks. Now, I'm assuming that the sacks are going to come in bunches, and once we start getting them, we're going to start getting a lot of them. But we should start that with a weak offensive line in Pittsburgh with a quarterback who's holding onto the ball too long and take advantage of the fact that Mitchell Trubisky, while mobile, isn't the most mobile quarterback or anything like that. But one of the reasons I think the defensive line is failing to get sacks is because of our second key to victory, and that's the linebacker and the safety room. If we're going to talk about one specific unit or set of units that has been the most disappointing in my eyes, it's the linebackers and the safeties. I expected a much better performance out of our linebackers and safeties after this offseason. C.J. Mosley had a great year last year. I thought Quincy was going to take a big step this year. I didn't really want the signing of Quan Alexander, but after we did and seeing him play, I was absolutely impressed with what he was bringing and the energy and the excitement that he brought, and I loved that. I really liked the Jordan Whitehead signing. I thought him as a strong safety was going to be very, very solid, even though I knew he had mistakes and problems in coverage. And I never thought that LaMarcus Joyner would be playing on this team. But unfortunately, all of the things that I expected are wrong. This team is not performing well up the middle of the field with the linebackers and the safeties, and teams are absolutely taking advantage of it. When you can throw quick little in routes and dig routes and things like that to come into the middle of the field and take advantage of the fact that our linebackers aren't covering well and that our safeties aren't covering well, it makes our defensive line's job a lot harder. When our D-line is creating pressure and quarterback hits and our outside corners are covering the outside excellently, it is really difficult for you to legitimately get sacks and get home when the middle of your field is wide open. And that's what it is constantly. I think we can prevent that by being more creative with our defensive play calling, and that falls directly on Jeff Ulbricht's shoulders. But I think more importantly, I think we should be running a lot more nickel coverage. We should be playing Michael Carter II out there more often than not so that we don't have to play with these linebackers and risk it. And the other thing is LaMarcus Joyner shouldn't be on the field. We've had 3 games of absolutely atrocious play from LaMarcus Joyner. It is time to move on. It's time for us to find out what we have in Ashton Davis, Tony Adams, play Will Parks for all I care. It is time to move on from LaMarcus Joyner because, honestly, you can't get much worse than LaMarcus Joyner when it comes to safety play. According to PFF, of 76 graded safeties, he is ranked 75th. Absolutely abysmal play out of LaMarcus Joyner. Can't keep that going. Let's move on to key 3 of victory, and that has to be run the ball. Our running game is effective. The right side of our offensive line, McGovern to the right, is being effective. Run the ball to the right side constantly. Motion your wide receivers to pull linebackers and run the opposite way. There are things that we can do to effectively move the ball forward. And this leads to my key to victory number 4 a little bit, but the fact that we are giving up on the run game way too early is concerning. I understand the dichotomy and the thought process, not dichotomy, I'm sorry, the thought process that, hey, we're behind, we need to pass the ball more. But when you're behind by 1 score, that doesn't mean you give up on the run game entirely. If you're behind by 2 scores in the third quarter, the beginning of the third quarter, you don't give up on the run game entirely, especially when your quarterback was immobile like Joe Flacco. It doesn't make sense. Breece Hall and Michael Carter are absolutely dynamic. Breece Hall is averaging like 5.6 yards per carry this year. Run the ball. Them only having 10 or 11 carries a game each, Michael Carter and Breece Hall, is an absolute travesty. It should be much higher. We should be in the middle teens. 15, 16, 17 carries a game. We should be splitting reps between running and passing. We should be in that 35 to 40 passing, 25 to 30 running the ball, and we're not achieving that at all. Having Joe Flacco in the first 3 weeks throw the ball 155 times, abysmal. We cannot have that. We got to run the ball more. You traded up to draft this running back high. Run the ball. And that'll help our key to victory number 4, which is we need to help the quarterback's blind side. We need to protect the left side of the offensive line. We are now on our fifth offensive lineman, and to expect that the 5th offensive lineman, who was a player that got cut, and then got brought back, obviously it was because of injuries, but to expect your 5th offensive lineman to perform adequately or to perform well is absolutely a fallacy. It's not going to happen. We spent a lot of money with this tight end room. We have really, really good running backs. Do what you can to protect the left side of the offensive line. And one of the ways that we do that is by running the ball. If these edge rushers are setting the edge first before they're pass rushing, it will help Connor McDermott be more effective in the pass protection. Next and last, final key to victory is Zach Wilson is under center. Zach Wilson needs to be better than Joe Flacco. I think that's plain and simple. That's obvious, right? I think Joe Flacco is a great backup quarterback, but Zach Wilson needs to be better than Joe Flacco. But not just he needs to be better than Joe Flacco, he needs to be better than himself. Zach Wilson needs to come in and be better than what he was last year. If Zach Wilson can take a step forward, this team is going to go as far as Zach Wilson takes them. Ignore the left side of the offensive line, ignore the linebackers, ignore the safeties. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. What matters is Zach Wilson. If Zach Wilson is a good quarterback and Zach Wilson is effective in this offensive scheme, which he's shown us that he can be last year at the end of the year, we can win games. The good thing is that we're facing Pittsburgh is his first game back, so we're facing a weak team who hasn't been able to create anything defensively or offensively, especially when you look at Pittsburgh is missing Minkah Fitzpatrick and TJ Watt, the 2 biggest players on their defense. When you take all of that into consideration, you have an opportunity here to not only knock off the rust if you're Zach Wilson, but to do it in a game where you can set the tone for the rest of the season. Zach Wilson needs to be better. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What do you think of my 5 keys to victory? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. And last but not least, go Jets.